Volkswagen, they are now admitting that they've made some massive mistakes with their touchscreens and the way you actually use their cars. They're saying they're changing it all, but it's going to take a long time to change. These new big changes they plan on rolling out aren't actually going to be here until 2024. In other words, they're saying if you buy an electric Volkswagen now, well, too bad, so sad. I don't know how well that's going to go down with consumers. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. My boys raced BMX National Championships, and I've just gotten back. Well, just got back today, actually, and it's late at night. But you know what? I thought I've got to get here because there's some really interesting stuff happening. One of those, I just filmed a video about BYD, their new battery technology. If it's in fact happening, as I believe it is, it's going to signify a huge change in the industry. Now, one of the big things happening with new digital cars is manufacturers are going screen only. They're doing a Tesla thing. Volkswagen have pretty much admitted that they copied Tesla. They tried to copy Tesla having just the digital screen, and they've now accepted that they've made a whole bunch of mistakes, and they've accepted the criticisms. They're saying, valid, you're right. Customers, we can't argue. They're saying that basically our infotainment systems suck. They're buggy, they're glitchy, they're difficult to use. It's hard to get to menu items. You got to go down in, you got to go through multiple menu upon menu upon menu to find things. And frankly, you know what? I just hired a car, a Chinese car. By the way, this company that makes those Chinese cars also makes Volkswagen cars for them. And frankly, the car drove okay. It was all right, aside from when you were trying to use the cruise control, which absolutely was a nightmare. The thing would just slam its brakes on for no reason. But ultimately, the software drove me mental. It was so frustrating. My boys, when we took the car back, they wanted me to go in there and tell the people that they need to fix the car. They were so perplexed by the fact that these new automated systems just kept beeping all the time, beeping for everything you can imagine. It was ridiculous. And each time I turned it off, as soon as I turned the car off again, well, all the settings went back to normal. So I had to go and rechange all the settings every single time I turned the car on and off to basically make it not beep constantly. It was really, really frustrating. This is the kind of experience a lot of Volkswagen owners have had. Frustration dealing with just driving a car, just trying to get from A to B. You're just trying to get from one point to another, and the thing's just driving you mental. The new boss of the Volkswagen brand, not the Volkswagen Group, just the Volkswagen car brand itself, has signed the death warrant for its controversial steering switchgear, and he's now addressing some of the many other technological grievances that customers have mentioned, complained about, have said that they hate. Thomas Schaefer, known as the brand's, who became the brand's CEO in July, says he's working to resolve issues with Volkswagen's infotainment systems and touch capacitive switchgear. People are just saying, please, for the love of everything, please, I was going to say something else, just make the thing, I want to drive from one point to the other without it going crazy, without trying to figure out what button does what, without the thing just doing wacky things, the screen not loading properly. Just fix it. And Volkswagen said, you know what? We're going to have the regular over-the-air updates that are going to fix these problems and make the cars better. How much of that have they actually really done? Yeah, not that much. He said, in the rush to create these vehicles to be quick off the mark and so on, whatever that means, the team had come up with different ideas. We know what we need to do. We've got feedback from customers. We've got feedback from clinics and from journalists. They say, you know, this is not good. You've got to improve this. One of the big problems was that the touch slider for the climate controls on models like the Volkswagen Golf and the ID4 and the ID3 lacks illumination, meaning you basically can't use it at nighttime. He said one of the criticizers was the slider functions are not illuminated, so you don't know that they're there at night time. That's fixed now, and it's coming next year. They will all be illuminated, said Mr. Schaefer. But the thing is, I don't think he was listening. People said they don't want touch capacitive buttons. They don't want sliders. They don't want that kind of thing. So maybe Volkswagen would need to really listen to consumers. He acknowledged mistakes have been made with the company's infotainment systems, with the latest generation MIB3 system criticized for lagging, bugs, and usability. Doesn't get much worse than that, does it? Lagging, bugs, usability, turning itself off and on randomly. Yeah, meaning these cars are a bit of a nightmare to drive, like the car that I just hired. Very similar. He said that software updates will be rolled out early next. He said that software updates will be rolled out early next year, with hardware upgrades to be installed in about 18 months' time. I don't know why it takes them so long. 18 months' time to fix these things with hardware updates. To me, that's too long. I mean, they're going to have to be selling products for the next 18 months now. The customers are going to have heard this feedback heard this criticism, and Volkswagen's going to say, well, you know, you can wait 18 months if you want. Is that really a good solution? To me, it seems like a long time. They've known about these issues for a long time, and they're saying it's still going to be another year and a half from now when they've known about these problems for probably 3 years. He said, the new 3.0 software is coming now. The hardware changes will come from early 2024. And he promised that the new systems will be faster, have more features, and have more frequent over-the-air updates available. Personally, I don't think customers are saying, Volkswagen, we want more features in these overly complicated, difficult to use menus. They're probably saying, simplify it. Make it easier to learn how to actually turn things off that drive you crazy. Mr. Schaefer revealed the problems with the brand's infotainment were so bad, the board has been meeting monthly to monitor progress. The technical team put together mock-ups and we sit down and we try them. We can say, this doesn't really work. Who the hell did this? Next, if you don't do that, you can take the wrong decisions, said Mr. Schaefer. Basically, he's admitting that they're doing this now, but they weren't doing this before. So they made the wrong decisions on lots of things. And I think that's pretty strange that, you know, they're admitting to the fact that they basically didn't get customers to check these cars to actually test them before they revealed these new features or the way that they worked. Now, personally, I thought that was the way that everyone operated. They had actually have people come in and try to test the cars, test the features, but maybe not at Volkswagen. So the CEO conceded that over the past few years, Volkswagen has created confusion in its vehicles by moving essential switchgear around and being inconsistent across models. What that means, if you're a Volkswagen brand fan, you've owned a couple of Volkswagens, you buy a new one, and everything's totally different. You don't understand where anything was. Imagine buying a new iPhone, right? The new iPhone 14 comes out and everything changes. It's frustrating. It's annoying. It's not a big deal if there's a couple of little changes, but if everything's fundamentally different, it's quite a steep learning curve. And I don't think anyone enjoys that, especially when it stops working or it lags or it turns itself off. Interestingly, Volkswagen isn't the only company that said, you know what, touch capacitive switchgear wasn't a good idea. Ford and General Motors are both doing the same thing. They in fact embraced touch capacitive switchgear in the 2010s, but they phased it out after criticism from owners. Clearly criticism that Volkswagen didn't listen to or didn't even know it happened. The crazy thing about this is that Ford's luxury brand Lincoln actually introduced touch capacitive controls for functions like climate control in 2011. But in 2013, they said, you know what, customers don't like it, we're going to get rid of it. And then, well, 7 years later, Volkswagen was like, hey, look, we've got these features. People hated them on Lincolns, but you know what, they're going to be great. You're going to love it. So much for that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.